All right, we've got a new entry from SOL, Survive Outdoors Longer. This is the Adventure Ready Kit, and we're going to check it out right now on Kitbashed Survival. All right, so I picked this up a few weeks ago, and it's a sort of a small to mid-size survival kit, if you will, the Adventure Ready Kit. They don't call it a survival kit, so it's probably important to note. And it's got all this stuff in there. We'll get to that when we open it up, which will be now. Can't remember how much I paid for this. I'll put it on the screen. So it comes in a little waterproof bag. We'll go ahead and weigh it. 8.9 ounces. Now already I can tell this thing does not have a lot of stuff in there. I mean, it's not meant to be an all-inclusive survival kit. It's just meant to have some handy gear ready to go when you need it, you know, on a day hike or something like that. So the bag itself is pretty well made. SOL generally makes pretty good quality stuff. I've reviewed a number of their items over the years, and they're usually okay. I mean, they're not the best survival kits ever made by any means, but, you know, they're decent. The quality is okay. So the dry bag itself seems pretty well made. I'm going to pull all this stuff out. Alright, so there that is. I don't know how many liters this is. Let's see here. It says it's a 2-liter dry bag. And as dry bags go, I would say it's perfectly fine. It feels pretty thick, like it would be able to stand up to some abuse. Got a nice clear window to let you see the contents, and then you got the buckle up top. So as far as the dry bag goes, it's perfectly fine. No complaints there. Alright, so let's check out the gear. First up, we got some paracord. 30 feet of 550 paracord. Pretty standard stuff. No complaints there. Then we got the SOL Spark Tool. They like to put this in a lot of their kits. It's got nice grippy sides, and then see if we can get it to work. Here we go. Yeah, I mean, it does exactly what it's supposed to do. It makes sparks. Then we've got something to use those sparks on. We've got these cotton plugs to help make a fire. And these are the wax impregnated cotton plugs. So they should light pretty easily. And we got 4 of those. We've got a whistle. Oh yeah, works well. Got some duct tape. I'm not going to open this up, but you can see it's duct tape. Let's see here. It is 2 inches by 51 inches. So a decent supply of duct tape. Then we've got our SOL Survival Towel. This is one of those expanding towels. This one expands to 24 by 12 inches. We've all seen these, pretty standard. Then we've got a headlamp. It's got a clip there, so you can clip it on something if you want. And then you got the headband, and it does tilt. And let's see if I can get this thing to turn on. Does it have a, yeah. It's got a little piece of, it's got a little piece of paper in there that just came out when it got flung across the room. There we go. All right. So you just twist to turn it on. Very simple. Nothing fancy at all. You know, it's just a bare bones headlamp, but it does work. Uses 2 CR 2016 batteries. Doesn't say how many lumens it is, but I mean, it can't be many, but it's okay. You know, it's better than nothing. In a pinch, it'll do. Oh, let's see. It looks like some safety pins and stuff. Let's find out. On the box, it says fishing and sewing supplies. So we got 3 safety pins. Make that 4 safety pins. A sewing needle, a pretty thick sewing needle. That's good. There's no thread, which is noteworthy. And then we've got some fishing line in here. Looks like it's probably something like 8-pound test or something like that. Not very strong, but you know, it'll do. We've got a few hooks, a swivel, and then a couple of weights. I suppose you could use the fishing line as thread if you had to sew something, but it would have been nice if there was sewing thread in here. We'll have to rectify that. And then lastly, we've got our compass, which is an SOL branded compass. Seems pretty decent quality. I mean, Of course, not the best compass you're ever going to see, but, you know, for an emergency, it'll do. It does work. It is accurate, so that's nice. And that's it. All right, so what do I think of the SOL Adventure Ready Kit? Well, there's a couple aspects to it. First up, let's talk about the price. Now, depending on the who, what, why, when, and where of how you buy this, you'll pay anywhere between about $45 and $55, give or take a few dollars either way. Now, I'm sure some people are going to jump to the emotional conclusion that that's a ripoff for what you're getting here, but in actuality, that's a pretty good deal. If you don't believe me, let's add up the prices of each of these items, and I'm going to be on the conservative side. So a 2-liter dry bag, $10, 30 feet of 550 paracord, $5, the headlamp, $10, $20 for the compass. For the fire making stuff, the spark wheel and the cotton plugs, we'll say $10, and then for the rest of the stuff, the towel, the whistle, the fishing/sewing kit, and the duct tape, let's say $5. So if we add all that up, we come to $60, which is actually a little bit more than what you can buy this kit for. Now, of course, it didn't cost SOL $60 to make this kit. They probably paid half that to make it, but that's how a business works. They need to make a profit to stay in business. They're probably buying these things in bulk so they can put it together and sell it at around $55 or so and still make a profit. So yeah, for what you're getting, it's actually not a bad deal. And now let's talk about the contents of the kit and how good that I think it is. Obviously, this is not the most incredible survival kit ever. It's not meant to be. I mean, the bag is only so large, so even if this thing was packed to the hilt, you could only have so much gear in there. It's not meant to sustain you off the grid for days at a time. This is something that's meant for adventures, you know, an outdoor adventure, a day trip, either a day hike or more to the point with this dry bag, you know, going rafting or kayaking or canoeing, something like that. And so it's just meant to give you a little bit of dry storage. You could probably put your cell phone in here to keep it safe. And then you've got a little extra gear just in case something comes up. But by no means is this meant to sustain your life for an extended period of time. That's not what it's about. So given all that, I actually think this is okay. It's not bad. Now, I always tell people that whenever you buy an off-the-shelf kit, you should never use it as is off the shelf. You need to use it as a starting point and then add additional gear to it to suit your needs and your particular environment and stuff like that. So I wouldn't just buy this and use it as is. I would buy it and then add a few things, which is what we're going to do in just a few minutes. And it's also important to keep in mind that a kit like this, it's not really for people like me or a lot of the people watching this video. This is not for the survival enthusiast. You know, folks like me, we like to build our own kits and all that kind of stuff. But a lot of people don't. They just want to buy something off the shelf and have it ready to go just in case they need it. So obviously, if you were going to build your own kit, you know, like a survival enthusiast would, you could do a much better job. But for the person who just wants something quick and easy and off the shelf, like I said, it's okay. It's a good starting point. So with that in mind, I'm going to add some extra gear to this kit to make it even better. So because this bag is relatively small, I'm going to add the stuff directly to the bag as we go, and that way I'll have a good idea of what's gonna fit and what's not gonna fit. So first up, we'll add a knife to this kit. This is my go-to favorite for survival kits. This is the Victorinox Fieldmaster. You could also go with the Huntsman if you wanted to. The difference is the Fieldmaster has the screwdriver, the Huntsman has the corkscrew, but it's got the scissors and the saw, which is why I like the Fieldmaster. And of course, it's got the other stuff the Swiss Army knives always have. There's not a lot of room for shelter, but we'll add a little bit. This is one of those emergency blankets, 130 by 210 centimeters. And then we'll add some fire making stuff to what's already in here. So we've got the spark wheel, and I'll put this all in its own little bag. Spark wheel and the cotton plugs. Then I've got a little bit of fat wood, a Bic lighter, book of matches, and a little tea light candle. And then in this bag, we'll put some personal items like the towel. I've got some first aid stuff here. I've got a few band-aids and a little gauze pad. Not much, but you know, it's better than nothing. I've got some medicine, a couple Benadryls, an anti-diarrhea pill, and 2 ibuprofens. Got some 50 SPF sunscreen, some Deep Woods Off wipes, insect repellent, and some hand sanitizer. And I like to put these in their own little baggie. That way if they pop open, they don't squirt all over everything else. I've got a little pack of MRE tissues, in case you need to go to the bathroom. And I've also got some Kleenex. Nice Spider-Man Kleenex. I got these at the dollar store. We'll open up another bag. And in here we'll put the compass, the whistle, put the headlamp in here. I've got a glow stick, blue glow stick. Got about 6 feet of orange signal tape. Got some waterproof paper and a pencil, just in case. And we'll put the little fishing kit in here, and we'll add this little emergency sewing kit. And then we'll use the personal bag for this. I'll add some water stuff. So I've got a couple of Melita coffee filters to help filter out sediment. I've got a 1 liter stand-up water bag. 6 water purification tablets. That'll purify 6 liters. And then finally, a water purification straw. This is a Frontier emergency filter made by Aquamira. And the straw attaches to this end, and that end goes in the water. And then the last item, at least I think it's the last item, I've got some Jolly Ranchers. My favorite, the grape Jolly Ranchers, and we'll do 4 of those. Alright, so now the big question is, will this all fit in this little dry bag? Let's find out. Alright, so there's a little extra room in here. I'm going to add a few more items if I can. I've got a few zip ties. I'm going to add a black trash bag, and it also has a ranger band around it. We've already got a little towel in there, but I think a bandana would be a good idea. They come in handy for all sorts of stuff. And then finally, we've got our paracord there. And that's pretty packed tight, but let me make sure I can fit a phone in there. Yeah, I can still do that. Oh, and speaking of the phone, one last thing I want to add is this small power bank. It's very slim and compact, so it'll fit in the bag easily. It's 2,500 milliamps. I got this on Amazon, and it does have a built-in USB-C cable right there, so it's all ready to go. And there we go. So yeah, this is a lot better than how I found it, which is the way it should be. Kits like this should be a jumping off point. I really don't advise using them as they are off the shelf. But, you know, as it was okay, a good starting point, some decent gear for the size and for its intended purpose. But let me know what you think in the comments below. I'm sure everybody has their opinions on what I should have added or shouldn't have added and stuff like that, so I'd love to hear what you have to say. And finally, if you like this channel and you would like to support this channel, you can do that through Patreon at patreon.com/kbsurvival. I'd like to put a big thank you out there to my current Patreon supporters. I don't have that many yet, but once we get a good number, I'll start doing some Patreon-only stuff, you know, live shows and behind-the-scenes videos and stuff like that. So again, if you'd like to support the channel, I would greatly appreciate it. Anyway, that's it for now. Again, let me know what you think in the comments below. I'm Eric Siegel. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, and I'll see you next time.